shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace all battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hand unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you very much. We'll take the national anthem now, which is the second stanza, the national prayer, which will be the second stanza of the national anthem. O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youths the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights attain. Amen. We pray that today's meeting will lead us to attain great lofty heights. Amen.
Amen.
I believe our comrade Chair has now joined us. We'll invite him to make the opening announcements, please.
Thank you very much, distinguished Ambassador Nkoyotoyo, for holding forth. I must apologize that we've been having some technical issues from the Lagos end, but we've been able to rectify that. We are here once again after the initial intervention in 2021 Independence Day. The nation today is going through an era of rebirth, and it cannot land properly except there is what you call collective ownership of the country or the state. And therefore, it is important that we look at what will make the nation birth properly. And one of the key things that will help us in this direction is electoral reform. So I'd like to appreciate those who have been committed to this process, who have done so much to make Nigeria stable and united. What can further unite us is when we have an electoral law that is working, that cannot be circumvented or manipulated by whoever. And so that is why we are here once again, to see that we have credible elections. And to that extent, sorry, we have invited, I'm using a device that I'll have to fight some. Therefore, we have invited very distinguished Nigerians who have knowledge in this area. And we'd like to welcome them. We'd like to also inform that you have the opportunity to speak to Nigerians from all walks of life, people in diaspora and in Nigeria. The sessions are going to be very simple session. We are going to do something that looks like opening ceremony, and after which we go into technical session where we itemize the issues and then build consensus on strategy of engagement. This is just an agenda setting dialogue to build consensus around the issue of credible election in 2027. Because if we don't have it, then it is just grouping in the dark for governance. And so we must have it. Nigerians must own their government. They must own their country. At least we must have something that looks popular in terms of election. And therefore we want people to be free. We are not going to take much of your time. Ambassador Koyoto is going to lead us through in terms of time management. But mine is just to say that after here, we go into a physical national summit on electoral reform, a very physical one. And I think that date is October 21 in Abuja. This is just to galvanize momentum in that direction so that we can all come together as one. Politicians, civil society activists, labor leaders, market women, etc. We must work together. It must not just be for the political class alone. It must not just be for the politicians alone. I mean, it's for everybody. As a matter of fact, politicians are expected to be agents of the people. But in Nigeria, it's not so. It is the other way around, where the agents overload. So therefore, it is a day for us to also commemorate the 65th anniversary of our independence. I pray that we have the real independence. And I'm very hopeful that by the time we get to 2027, with what we have started today, it's going to be El Dorado. It's going to be Huru. I am very optimistic. If we do not blink with what we have started, if we do it very well, if we move very well, then the sky will not just be the limit of Nigerians. So I'd like to thank you and yield the microphone to Ambassador Nkolotoyo. Thank you very much. Ambassador. Oh, am I cut off? Hello?
No, you're fine. You're fine. Ambassador is getting ready.
Okay. I thought I was... but did you hear me at all?
Yes. Yes. You are loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, let's wait for Ambassador. And can you help us also acknowledge the presence of some of the guests while we wait for Ambassador to...
Thank you once more. As earlier said before, we have the privilege of having His Excellency Chibike Rotimi Amaech, the former governor of Rivers State, is here with us. We have Professor Pat Otomi with us here. And we have Alhaji Bugaje. He was also here. I think he's probably just stepped out. We have quite a lot of people here. We have Omotayo Akingbade, a lot of individuals that are with us here. We're over 100, so it might not be practical to mention every single one of us by name, but
thank you very much. Can we go to the opening welcome address by Professor Pat Otomi then? I think that's on the agenda.
Yes, I think Professor Pat Otomi, I don't know if it's dropped or he's changed device. Prof, if you're there, can you raise your digital hand so that we can unmute you, Prof?
That's the chairman, local organizing committee, Professor Patrick Okedinachi Utomi.
He was here from onset, but I think his network probably yanked him off. I don't know.
Okay, so is Ambassador Nkoyotoyo back?
Yeah, she's back, but...
Okay, she can stand in briefly to welcome.
Okay.
We'll take Prof at some point. So let Ambassador welcome. She's the deputy chair of the local organizing committee, while Professor Tony is the chairman of the LUC.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can hear you.
Okay. We just to thank everybody for the patience and to say how grateful we as a movement of multi-stakeholders representing various interests are excited and honored to have you on this platform this afternoon. And just to bring to the consciousness of everybody that this has been a process that's been ongoing. Back in 2007, you recall that President Yaradua was not particularly happy with the outcome of the elections. He set up the Ways panel to look at the reforms. And ever since then, the journey towards the reform of Nigeria's electoral processes has been ongoing. With every assembly, National Assembly, we've seen efforts at reforms. We've seen significant progress made, particularly with the use of electronic devices to improve on the quality of our elections. But in 2023, we saw a reversal. What we thought was significant progress hit the rock in 2023. And so confidence has fallen. A lot of people today have very little faith in the electoral process. And we believe that it is very critical to the 2027 elections that we do something about the electoral system itself and all the laws relating to it. Not only is civil society concerned, but we have seen that in the last couple of months, the National Assembly itself has come up with bills directed at the process of reviewing some of the sections of the Constitution that relates to the issues of elections and the electoral process itself. So we feel that what is before us as a part of the constitutional reform process going on in the National Assembly is not wholesome enough. We noticed that they are very quiet on the use of mandatory transfers of results, the issue of the election of the next INEC chairman, which is a very critical piece of process and action, which we must not just sit down and watch. Some of the proposals that the National Assembly has come up with is to have all the elections on one day, and with the arrival also of state police and a couple of other things, we need to look at many of these issues and ask the question whether we are just watching or actively participating in the processes that will lead to the 2027 elections. For us, the question would be that given the experience of 2023, what should a credible election look like in 2027? This is the beginning of a process. And the process consists of, first of all, thinking around what the issues are. There are many players and actors in this space. Many have done significant work already in bringing the consciousness of Nigerians to um, this platform and the issues that we're about to discuss. We are very thankful to all of them who are part and parcel of this, including civil society, including the labor unions, including the academia, including the political class and political elites, which some of them are here with us this afternoon. We're very grateful to all of you for being part of this process. We hope that at the end of today, we'll at least begin to speak to those issues, and this process will lead gradually to a people-owned conversation around what credible elections would mean in 2027. Our worry right now is that some processes are moving very quickly with the constitutional reform process already on its last stages in the National Assembly, and many more steps are being taken. Processes towards the electoral reforms have not been quite progressive as we would like it to be. And at the same time, we are conscious of the fact that a new INEC chairman may be appointed anytime soon. It is in the context of all these concerns that we have come this evening to ask the basic question: what will a credible election in 2027 look like? Certainly, after 2023, we do understand that what we were left with was far from credible. And we cannot use 2027, 2023 as a reference point for 2027. In the off-season elections that we've seen, it seems the standard has even fallen further lower than what we had known and expected prior to 2003. So the challenge is for all Nigerians, not just for the few of us on this platform. But our concern is to start this conversation and use this conversation to galvanize a more national consciousness, national engagement, national involvement, and national transformation of what it means to carry on in this way. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Ambassador Nkoyo-Toyo, for that very decisive remarks. Professor Patu. Admin, is Professor Patu Tomi back? Hello?
No, I can't see Professor Tommy now. Unless he's joining with a device that's got no name, but if he has, please, Prof, can you raise your hands? But I don't think Prof is joined us back.
So we have to go and take those who are here.
The next item is the speech by the chairman.
The chairman is not here yet, unless he's joined with a different device.
And the keynote speaker.
Also not here.
We can now take the special guests, messages from the special guests.
Okay. So we
His
have...
Excellency. Go ahead, please.
No, I say we have His Excellency, the former governor of Rivers State, Chief Chibike Rotimi Amaech, is here with us. And we also have Alhaji Bugaji as well. So.
Is Alhaji Dr. Bugaji back?
So can I invite them?
Yes. He's back.
Okay, let's take the
Can we ask
attention of
His Excellency.
You want me to speak?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay, so
you're welcome, Your Excellency. Please go ahead.
Trust me, I wanted to opt out because a lot of people you invited to the meeting are not in the meetings. I don't know whether the reason is because they were not properly invited. I got my own invitation only about 2-3 a.m. yesterday. This morning. And I said I'll be present because I thought if the names you put up were going to be present, I could as well be present to listen to them. Since all of them are absent, I will say, well, I will just listen to the program. But the other thing I want to contribute is, first, there is absolutely nothing anybody can do about electoral reform in Nigeria in the present government. Absolutely nothing you can do. Absolutely. Because they will do, what did you do when Buhari was there? Did we achieve any of this? There was nothing that we did in terms of electoral reform. There was no much progress. There are nothing that will come to mind to everybody that most of the people you invited were in government. What did they do when they had the opportunity to carry out this electoral reform? If they did it in the time they were in government, we will not be here today. Everybody keeps making sure that once he wins, he will say he will not do electoral reform so that he can rig himself back to second tenure. Then when he's out of government, they will all start shouting electoral reform. It takes much more than that. It takes commitment, it takes patriotism to know that votes should count. Here in Nigeria, nothing. So it's not a thing to gather politicians. It is the responsibility of the Nigerian citizens to seize their destiny in their own hands. Because currently politicians will not do that. Why would politicians not do that? Politicians will not do that because politics has become a source of revenue, a source of income for them. So, and the electoral reform would mean that you're taking power back to the people. And so the people can hire and fire. They don't want to. They don't want the people to hire and fire them. They want to. I know how they were rigging the election in the different times I've been in government. So by inviting us, the first thing to do, I know. I also knew that most people won't come. There are those who are afraid of the Tinubu's government. There are those who can answer the question of when you were in government, what did you do? The people today in Buhari's government who are crying for electoral reform were people who stopped Buhari from signing the reform that came from National Assembly. They went to Buhari to convince him not to sign that act and convince him to ask for an amendment. And they went and amended it. Today they are shouting electoral reform. So what makes you think that Tinubu will agree to any electoral reform? What wasn't the matter? The person chairing the National Assembly, but this is about the worst National Assembly I've ever seen. So that's my own view. That's what I think. I'm going to watch. I'm going to listen. If nothing happens, I wonder what 2027 will look like.
Excellency, just on the points you make, and I'm sure that others will come in shortly. We did have quite a good electoral set of laws and regulations up to 2023, but it was the non-implementation.
Did you have
because
did you have a transmission of results?
We didn't have the mandatory. We had transmission, but not mandatory.
No, exactly. And once you did that, the National Assembly, I mean, the court used it as an excuse. You don't even have to have mandatory. The fact that is mentioned in the law means that you could, it's one of the possibilities that they should apply. Then suddenly, I've said it several times. The current chairman of INEC is the worst chairman after you. I've said it publicly. So if you, I tell people as if you know what I know, having been in government for a very long time, if you don't go mad, you will leave the country.
Thank you, Excellency. Let's invite Dr. Bugaje to give us his perspectives on this, please. Dr. Usman Bugaje, please.
Thank you. I've just been unmuted. Let me greet and thank all those that have been able to make it. I'm not quite sure there is much to say at the moment. Attempts to reform electoral laws and regulations have been on for quite some time now. And it's very clear that those who are sitting on the seats are not prepared to do the necessary reforms to make our elections better. In this particular regime, I have not seen any readiness to make any reform possible. And therefore, just like Governor Rotimi Amaech has just finished saying, I don't see any possibility. And I'm even wondering, NC Front that has organized this, are they not aware of the regime that we're dealing with? Are they in any way thinking that granted we're able to come up with proposals, and there are a lot of proposals, they think we can pass through or make any amendments that will improve the quality of elections? My reading is this is one regime that has shown that they are not even prepared to conduct an election. And look at the elections that were held in Kaduna recently. People were waiting to cast their votes when announcements were made of the results, including the polling booth that never saw any ballot box. And we have seen exactly the conduct of the 2023 election. We have seen how the courts have behaved. So I think rather than talking about reform, we should actually be looking at ways we can stop regimes from manipulating the electoral process and continuing to stay on their seats. I think the challenge now, at this point in time, is not about what reforms will make elections better. How can we mobilize our society to resist these crooks that sit, precisely to manipulate all the electoral processes to make sure that they come back to power? I think this is the real challenge. It would appear to me the 2027 election, as things stand at the moment, is not going to be won or lost at the ballot box. It's not going to be won or lost in the courts. It's going to be won or lost on the streets of Nigeria. So it is time for us to begin to organize to resist these people who are hell-bent on continuing, irrespective of the votes that Nigerians might be prepared to cast. Thank you.
Wow, that's profound. Thank you very much, Doctor. You've just reiterated what His Excellency Rotimi Amechi said. Obviously, the path which we ourselves have considered, which is the way of looking at some of the electoral processes, is one that is long tested and overused. So it's time to think about something different. Chair, are you? Do we have any of our guests back?
Is Dr. Prince Adebayo in the house? Hello? Is Prince Adebayo of the FTP? Yeah.
No.
Okay, if he's not here, then go on to Dr. Gbenga Olawepo. Dr. Olawepo, please.
No, Gbenga Olawepo is not here. I think, unless he's joined with a different name.
Okay. Is Dr. Obi Ezekwesili here now, because we spoke not quite long? Is she here? Dr. Obi she was earlier.
Yeah, I saw some Obi iPhone. Yeah.
No, that's Obi's iPhone, not Obi's.
I spoke with and indicated she was going to speak here.
I don't know if that is. I don't know if that Obi's iPhone. I don't know if that is Peter Obi or.
Okay, if Mr. Peter Obi is here, then we can take him. Can take his good wisdom and intervention. Dr. Tanko Yunusa, are you there? Dr. Tanko Yunusa.
Yeah, Tanko Yunusa is there.
Yeah, I think Obi, maybe Peter Obi is still with us, yes.
Tanko, kindly unmute and tell us if His Excellency Peter Obi is here with us. Tanko, please unmute.
So Tanko Yunusa, are you here?
Yeah, he's there. He's just trying to unmute. Oh, I think we might skip Tanko. I think he's at an event. Okay, he's unmuted.
So sorry, please. I'm trying to bring His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi on board. So he's delivering his speech. He will join us in a moment, please. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Mr. Peter Obi is still been awaited here. To respond quickly to the concern of Right Honorable Rotimi Amaech. Well, it is not for us to allow our pessimism to drive inertia, because doing nothing would mean that the people may abandon their historical responsibility. What we have decided to do is to galvanize momentum for to ensure that we have something, to help our situation. Because if we fold our hand and do nothing, history itself will rebuke us. And therefore, at every point in time, we must start with conversation like this. And this is virtual. We are still going to have the physical summit in Abuja. It's a build-up. People in power may not want to leave. Nobody wants to commit suicide, though. But it's for the people, the owners of the country, to do the needful. And the role of the civil society is to persistently mobilize the consciousness of the people. And that is what we are trying to do here, somehow. So I don't know if we have any of the invited speakers.
I think there's an important piece of direction which this conversation has raised, which I think we must also take into account. That beyond electoral reforms as it is traditionally done, electoral reforms, whether they be the reform of the law itself or the constitution itself, or the way things are done within INEC itself, there is the people's dimension. And we need to go back to the drawing table and ask ourselves, what does the people's dimension look like?
Nkoyo, God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. What many of the citizens are not asking us on election day, what did the Constitution say? Many of the citizens are not asking us whether the the transmission was taking place or not. What the citizens want to see is that their votes count. We, the elites, have turned around to allow these constrictions and things that we have created in the image and name of electoral reforms to become the basis on which we have these conversations. I think if there's one thing we can go away from, even at this point in this conversation, is the question, given that we know and we are almost certain that 1 year to an election, because almost we have barely 1 year to the election plus, that this is not likely to change. What is the alternative that this group can bring to the conversation? And I think that alternative is what we are beginning to hear our leaders tell us about. They are the politicians. They have experienced it firsthand. They know what that experience looks like. I think for me, as both a civil society person and one who has been in the political space for some time, we need to pull together some of the thoughts of these our leaders that are telling us, they are actually sending messages to us in civil society that what we have traditionally done is going to have serious limitations this time around. So as much as we will continue to press for the reforms of the law, using our other forms of networking and alternative advocacy platforms, we must, as a people, begin to tell ourselves what is the story that will make this election different from 2027. And it lies with what the people decide to say. Number one, I would ask, for example, if tomorrow an INEC chairman is appointed, that all of us think is obnoxious to have that kind of person. What do we do? Will we sit down and wait for the reform of the law? Because I know that one of the things we have put out there for attention is that the appointment of the INEC chairman must go through a more rigorous process. That's not likely to happen. The present chairman has less than a month to go. That's not likely to happen. So the chairman gets appointed in the next 4 or 5 weeks. What do we do? Do we complain that the law has not changed? Do we watch and see, or do we take to the take? I mean, I don't know what other courses of action we would want to take, but this is part of what the movement. Why did we talk about the movement, Che? We said it's not going to just be the regular advocacy and statement writing and engagement with certain key people in government. It's going to be a lot more than that. And I believe that maybe that other part of our work, which we haven't yet conceptualized, is what this meeting could pay a little bit more attention to doing. If in a month's time we get a new chairman, do we just watch? Do we just accept? Of course, we will accept, but do we accept with conditions, or what do we do? That's the question that I would raise. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Is Barrister Promise in the house? Barrister Promise Adeusi.
He is.
And we have your intervention, brief intervention.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
yes.
very well.
Oh, good evening, Your Excellency Barrister Rotimi Amaech. Good evening, Your Excellency Nkoyo to you and everybody in the house. Yeah, I've listened carefully. Incidentally, His Excellency, the former governor of Rivers State, has spoken my mind. And this is what I had always insisted. These 2027 elections cannot be won on the ballot by voting alone. And when we talk about the reforms that the late Chiradua, may his soul continue to rest in peace, effected, it wasn't because of his large heart. Things happened immediately he came in. Nigerians forced him to admit that that election was flawed. And because he saw the direction the thing was flowing to, he had to make that announcement, which kind of threw cold water on the rising agitations that were already on the streets. So if anybody just thinks that the National Assembly on their own will sit there and pass laws that will get them out of office, I think we have another thing coming. If you also look at 2023, and this time we need to be more careful, scrupulous, and discerning. We were all too excited when we read, after much pressure, that electronic voting had been approved and transmission effected. We didn't look between and read between the lines that this transmission that was spoken about was not the mandatory electronic transmission. So they are also going to leave some gaps in the law, which they are going to manipulate. But again, how are we going to make sure that that doesn't happen? And it's not academics this time. Nigerians must make up their mind on what they want. And we must be prepared to engage these people with whatever it takes. Because if the 2023 election had gone the other way around, I am telling you, there wouldn't have been any peace on the streets. I just want to stop there, please.
Yes, thank you, Barrister Promise Adewusi. Very instructive that we have to roll up our sleeves while we confront the 2027 election. So do we have any of the invited guests, the invited speakers? Because I can't see from where I am. Is Mr. Peter Obi ready? Njezi.
I think he's rounding up. His Excellency Peter Obi is rounding up his speech at the Merit House, Abuja, so he will be joining shortly. In communication with Tanko, if he finishes.
Okay.
What of our communication with the contacts for His Excellency President Jonathan?
Yes, that's Madu. Is
Yes.
Madu here? Madu Bright. Hello.
We have a Timothy Gochukwu Maduka, so I don't know if that's the person.
No, sorry. It's a different person that we were engaging yesterday.
Okay, can we have the perspective of NECO, Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition?
Can I excuse myself?
Not yet, sir. In fact, because we have raised very fundamental issues. Not yet, sir. We want you for some time. You may still have to be called upon to speak.
Okay, I'm here.
Sorry about that, sir.
Thank you, sir. NACO, please.
Pastor Oaks. NACO, or who is representing NACO?
Okay, I'm on now. Okay, I was waiting to be unmuted. I was trying to unmute. Your Excellency, sirs, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the honorable facilitators, I want to thank everybody. My name is Pastor Oaks. I'm the National Convener of Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition, NACO. NACO has been, I don't know, please, if I'm being heard, just want to be sure.
Very well.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. NACO has been at the forefront recently on the drive for electoral reform in the country, and we have engaged in so many things. I want to appreciate Your Excellency, the former governor of Rivers State, for his insightful direction. Also, NACO has not just been doing advocacy, sitting on the fence. We have a whole lot of things is going on already. We have taken advocacies to the National Assembly and submitted bills to them. But in addition to that, we have had our PRO being on the social media, sensitizing the entire public, the entire nation as regards this electoral reform. But what other things we have done is we are building our foot soldiers across the states, in all the states, all the local government, all the wards. Already NACO has covered all the 30 states of the Federation, covered all the local governments, and we are heading down to the wards and the polling units. A lot of our people are registering right now as polling unit supervisors across the state. The reason is because we, like you already mentioned here, that even after the electoral reform is being done, tendencies are that some people may also want to cheat or steal the mandate. And so we are raising soldiers already for what we call the guardians of the mandate, who are going to be defending the votes at the polling units. and we are also carrying out the training for these people. But while we are pushing for the advocacy and the amendment of the Electoral Act, we are also planning for what we call the last straw, which is the Occupy NAS. Occupy NAS is our, we will call it a peaceful protest, but we are planning to gather in all Nigerians on the 30th of October to come and stay at the National Assembly and in all the state houses of assembly to ensure that this Electoral Act is done. Already we have, the committees are already on that, and we are calling on all Nigerians and all our elites and everyone who means well for this country to join the Nigerian Electoral Reform Coalition, join NACO, to make sure that these plans are actualized, because we know until we take this for this work in with a strong arm, we may not be able to succeed. So we know that only a credible and transparent election will give Nigeria what we need to make this country what it ought to be. I want to thank all of you, and I don't want to take much because we actually agreed that this is going to be a very short time meeting. And I want to say that please, we need everyone to be on board, to join the group, and to help support us and support the movement to see that we make this push and get our recruitment system reformed. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. I will have to stop here until further notice.
Thank you very much, sir.
Che, back to you. Comrade Che.
Hello?
I said back to you.
I'm trying to unmute through another device.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm lost. Hello, do we have any of the invited speakers?
We don't, so we...
Is Professor Patutomi back?
No.
Hello, sir. I suggest before the keynote speakers are here, you should please allow the participant to make
Hello?
comment.
Can't hear.
Oh,
We have people that we have participants who've raised their hands. So can we take them then?
yes, please. Yes.
Okay, we have Segios Ogun.
Segios Ogun, please go ahead. We'll take a few of those comments and then we'll round up, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I earlier wanted to respond to what His Excellency CRO said, Rotimi Amaech. I appreciate him for his boldness and his braveness as usual. I was part of the Ninth Assembly that enacted that law, the Electoral Act. And most of the things we protested about on the floor of the House were ignored. Ambassador was a member of the House of Reps, so she understands how that works when you are not, especially when you are the minority party and you are not allowed. There are so many things you cannot say. And if you remember, before it was passed, the PDP there walked out of the House, and whatever was passed were not a party to it. The transmission was a battle. I think what we actually have in Section 54 of the Electoral Act is not transmission, is transfer. So when you vote and it's signed by the agents, it's snapped with the beavers and then sent to the server. So in saying all this, we also have to, now talking about just contributing to what Dr. Bogaji said, we also have to organize.
Che, please, just a minute. Che, please, can you mute? Che, can you mute, please? Please go ahead.
Okay, so we also have to organize the opposition. And the current president did that well. Again, His Excellency Rotimi Amechi knows how they do that, how they did that then. So I will appeal to people like him to help, because that's where we are having issues right now. The opposition is not organized. The PDP is still hoping that after their convention, something will come out. Labour is still hoping that they will resolve the issue, and then the Usman will become the chairman and all that. Well, right now, I'm a member of the ADC, and I was involved in the by-election a couple of months back ago in Edo. When I heard somebody talking about we are organizing, we have people in the states and all that, we are starting another journey again. That was what happened there during the LP. People claimed they had people on ground everywhere. On the election, we didn't see anybody. Even though I was a ranking member of the House and a member of PDP, I said I was obedient, because where are we going to this country today? So my contribution basically is that we have to start organizing now. As much as we are talking about how to handle INEC, we should also be talking about how to handle the courts. No rule of law today. And I think Chase said something about nobody wants to commit suicide. Well, my hand's up. I'm ready to take a bullet for this country. I'm 62 years old now. What country do I want to bequeath to my children? So that fear, I have deleted fear files in my life completely. So if you are looking for it, if you want people that will march on the streets of Nigeria, I'm ready to be in front and I'm ready to take a bullet. Because if we do not stand and confront these people, the 2027 election the result has been written. In the by-election that we did, the APC bought, besides buying votes, they also bought our agents. Agents were paid 10,000 naira. But voters will also pay 10,000 naira. So why will an agent be willing to wait till 6, 7 p.m. and go to a collation center when he can just earn 10,000 naira and go home? And they paid 50, 100,000 naira for the agents. So now we're even talking about, we don't know who the INEC chairman is going to be. So whoever that person is, we have to first fight it. Like Buba Gladima said, if there's going to be a civil war, let it be. But what I'm saying, we must confront this today. If we are waiting on the day of election to now march out on the street, it would have been too late. The APC did it in 2014 to 2015. They said they were going to set up a parallel government. Somebody said that earlier. They let you know, they told you up front, there's going to be chaos if you make any attempt to tamper with this result. Why are we not doing it today to them? Why are we not doing it? So my take is, well, like somebody said earlier, nothing is going to come out from this electoral act. Forget it. I was in the house. Ambassador, you were in the house. Nothing will come out of this. Nothing. Let's forget about it. So the earlier we begin to let them know that it's not going to be business as usual in 2027, the better for all of us. So, His Excellency, people to organize. You should join others to organize the opposition. Let's begin to hit the streets. Let's begin to bombard the social media. Let the international community know that we mean business. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Ambassador Koye.
Yes, sir.
Ambassador Koye, I'd like to intervene now that the young man, the man who he says 62, so he's not a young man, he's a man. the gentleman who spoke and said he was like ladies. Yeah, that's what I said. I was sorry I called you young man.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Now, he didn't have a lot of history. He was attributing some of the things to Tinubu. I organized the protest by APC that took over the IGP's office. I was the person who made the statement that if they rigged us out, to form a parallel government, not in Kano, but in Abuja. I did all that because we are determined to see that the election was free and fair. And that statement got the international committee to have a meeting in my house. Don't forget I was the governor. And that meeting will resolve that America must intervene. And they did. They sent John Kerry. And John Kerry warned all parties, if the election is not free and fair, the American government will rally the international committee not to recognize the government and the election. That was one part. The other part, I would say it. Why would I say it? I mean, before I wasn't a candidate. I was pivotal to APC's victory. I was the rallying point. I was the person going everywhere. Everything rallied around me. Even when we organized the protest, Tinubu protested against we organizing the protest. Tinubu and Adams. But we went ahead. Luckily for us, Buhari was part of it and all that. And we held on to the gates of the police to the point where the police couldn't come out, couldn't go in. Now, what I would say to everybody is, for me, we are selfish. Nobody wants to make sacrifice for the country. Nobody wants to know that, look, I'm running for president. Can I win? That's the question we've not asked ourselves. Can I win, for instance? Because he said we should organize the opposition. So what you have currently in the opposition are people who want to win primaries in their different parties and begin to look for money from the public, and then they lose the election and they have money in their pocket. That's my own suspicion. I may be wrong. Trust me, I may be wrong. I'm not accusing anybody. But I'm saying in APC, we knew Buhari would win the election. So all of us rallied around Buhari. So we had somebody up front that we could make to win the election. Now, if therefore we want anything to happen, for me, it will happen after I have emerged as a candidate of a party. Then I would know the type of election I want to run. I will not wait for anybody. Because if it's what people are speaking here of going to which National Assembly led by Adebayo, he was my colleague. I was the chairman as chairman of Governors Forum, so I know him too well. From Abacha's writing of results today, South and Southeast are yet to come out of writing of results. So if something has to be done, for me, I will wait until after primaries. I'm not saying people should wait, because why I say I will wait is I want to make my contributions at the end of the primary, whoever wins. But I think that the NGOs must do much more than organizing conferences and conventions. They won't solve the problem that we're currently facing. It will take much more than that. I think so. That's what I think. And at this point, do I have the permission of the House to exit?
Excellency, you've made wonderful contributions. What we can say is that this meeting is not going to be much longer. We have 3 more speakers, and we probably will then round up thereafter. Please, sir, if you will indulge us, your contributions have been most welcomed and most refreshing. Sometimes civil society listens to itself, but I think what you have brought to this conversation is when the political class, who are the gatekeepers, begin to speak to civil society. I think many of us begin to know that cross-fertilization of ideas is what we definitely need in order to carry this process forward. So let me quickly ask Eze Onyekpere to please speak. Long time, Eze. Barrister, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Eze. Go ahead.
All right, let me observe all protocols to say that when I saw this invitation for the meeting, the first thing I did in the chat with Wale was to say, even if you were to reform the law today, that at the end of the day is what the judges and the Supreme Court decide as the interpretation, no matter how wrong they are, that stands. We had the card reader and we were all excited about the idea of the card reader, but when it went to the Supreme Court, they simply told us that it's still the manual paperwork that is supreme. Card reader is just an adjunct. We were hoping through INEC regulations and the Electoral Act that this time around electronic transmission of results, because INEC had power to make that regulation, had become the norm. Of course, the Supreme Court said, no, this is just nothing. So at the end of the day, while we advocate the reforms in the law, we should also think of something we can do to begin to put the fire of the legs of the judges on fire, to tell them that they are not at liberty to simply interpret whatever they think is the law, that there should be some common sense and reason in the interpretation of the law. And finally, I think I am very happy about the submissions being made by the members of the political class who are here, who are telling you that we need to go outside our usual conferences and workshops to think of organizing on the streets, because at the end of the day, you are likely to have a law which is there. You are likely to have the Supreme Court somersault on all kinds of technicalities and then legitimize and legalize whatever illegality has been done. It's only the streets that hold the last hope of actually making everybody come to his senses or her senses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eze. That was profound. Thank you. Can we ask Echo to talk, please? Echo. ECO. Echo, please.
Okay, good evening. I want to thank everyone, including His Excellency Rotimi Amaech and Ambassador Bogaje. I want to thank you very much because you see, why? Because, for instance, I still find it odd that during the 2003 election and then the governorship that followed, the people were attacked at polling booths. And then they now said, okay, since you attacked us at the polling booths, this is what we are going to find a solution to. When I'm going to that polling booth, I will go with my dog. And the police said, no, you can't do it. Somebody said, no, if you are going to attack me at the polling booth, I will go with my pepper spray. The police said, no, you can't do it. Yet they are not able to tell people who come to polling booth with their machetes, with their clubs, and with their guns. So how do I stop them? How do I defend myself if I cannot go there? So we need to also take care of that aspect of the police, the role they play during elections. So you stop one side, but you don't stop the other. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Echo. We're beginning to have somebody of ideas that even when we go beyond the question of legislation, there are many other hurdles on the way to getting to where we want to be. Can we hear from Lizzie? Mr. Nelson, did you want to speak? You have to raise your hand because your hand is not raised. You have to raise your hand to be able to speak. But right now it's Lizzie.
Hello, hello. Are you hearing me?
Yes,
Are you hearing me? Hello.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, Your Excellencies. I'm Lizzie Bine from the civil society. My own take, I've been thinking about this. How can we have a straightforward, honest election if countries like US does not make a statement that this time around they are interested in what comes out of Nigeria, and because of what our people are passing through over there? So can we take this opportunity to engage or make noise to make them make a statement on this? Then secondly, most of our women are still being bought with 5,000, 10,000 at the polling booths. We need to go down and sensitize them of the opportunity that we lose when we collect such small money. So these two items, I want us to factor it and work with it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, please. Thank you, Madam Lizzie. Mr. Nelson, first comment, please. Mr. Nelson, Asogo Nelson.
Yes, thank you very much. All protocols duly observed. I am Mr. Asogo Nelson, the State Convener of Benue State, NAFTA. There is some comments I want to state here categorically, ranging from the remark of the former governor of River State.
Yes, please go ahead.
Rotimi Amaech, he made mention that there is nothing that can be done to salvage the deteriorated state of electoral system of having Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I think there is nothing to be done apart from hitting the street. Yes, because all avenues have been exhausted. Some of the members of the chamber, the upper and lower chambers, who were there when these some of the electoral reforms were agitated for, couldn't do anything. And the former governor said the politicians will not allow this to hold. The reason being that it has become a tool, for a market tool for them to accumulate surplus value.
Nelson, what's your suggestion? Can you go to your suggestion, please?
Yes, I suggest we hit the street rolling.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let the government see us acting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Timothy, and that's it.
Nkoyo, just to say to you that, the difference is that you cannot elect somebody who, when he gets to power, he will not immediately start electoral reform. Immediately. Because again, we'll go and elect somebody. Let's assume that tomorrow we're able to remove Tinubu. You elect somebody who will plan to rig election to put himself in the second tenure. I've told people here that nobody has the right to speak about this. I mean those who are in government, not the civil society. Because all of us were in government. What did we do?
Yes.
We did nothing.
Yeah.
Me, if I have the chance, first 6 months, you don't need anything. The law is already there. It's just to add some missing links. All that constitutional amendment, this and that. The 2000 and the law that brought in the 2023 election, or 2019 election, either 19 or so, had nearly everything. But when they went to the president, they went and convinced the president that they must remove a lot of things. So put back those things, including electoral transmission, electronic voting, put it back. Let the wars happen. Let Nigerians choose whoever will be their president. I thank you for the opportunity of allowing me to speak here. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have been more than resourceful. Thank you, sir. Last speaker, Timothy, so that we close the meeting, please. Timothy?
All right, good afternoon.
Dr. Ezekutsili in. Please, can we take her now? Yeah, she's here.
Okay, sorry. My leader, please, can you take the floor? Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, please. Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, please.
Ezekwesili.
She has unmuted, so
she's muted.
No, she has unmuted.
Please, unmute her.
Please go ahead.
She is unmuted.
I've been battling to unmute myself too, to tell you since that she came in. She said no. She's still muted.
You can see it there now. She's unmuted unless she has a network problem. The camera is off.
She's saying that no, she's.
Hold on. Dr. Obi, I am muted. She is still muted, please. Can you check again on her? Thank you.
She comes and goes. I think she is unmuted. She's also she made a co-host, so she can also unmute.
Professor Pat is also here now. Our guests our speakers are beginning to come in, and we are still
okay. Maybe we can take
Mr. Peter Obi to join us.
No, I think. Okay, can we take part, because I can see that Obi's mic is not working.
She's trying to talk, but
her mic is not showing.
She said we are not correct.
I am unmuted finally here.
Okay. Admin, you have to do something.
While we are trying to unmute Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, can we listen to our chair, Professor Patu Tomi, please?
Well, thank you so very much. Let me begin by saying that it's a good thing that we got the contributions that we got from Honorable Chibike Amaech, because it's always good to reflect the experience of people with these challenges. So I really welcome his contributions. I think that we are dealing with something really fundamental to the survival of our country. And why is this so important? Progress cannot take place. People have to really get away from the illusion that somehow you can govern a people. Doesn't matter who they are, what they think, so long as you have the levers of power. That is not true. The concept of legitimacy which is something that is continually earned. It is not something that you just get and it's there. No, you earn it by the people believing that you really represent them. The concept of legitimacy is such that a government that is perceived as lacking in legitimacy will never be effective in governing. This is why, under military rule, even you heard this coup d'etat speech justifying why they took power in the interest of the people and so on and so forth. So legitimacy is so critical. And what really makes democracies work is the legitimacy that is conferred by the perception that the elections were free, fair, and represent the will of the people. If we do not do everything to ensure free and fair election, everybody loses, including those who think they have power for the moment. Because ultimately, the people vote with their feet. They vote if they think that they are too weak to overcome those who are oppressing them. They act in ways that make it difficult for those governments to be effective. And in the end, everybody loses. They can pretend for a season, and you can see the results from around the world. Whether it is Kathmandu, what's happening in Nepal, or what's happening, or what happened in Sri Lanka, what happened there and there. Ultimately, they lose big time. For a moment, you will look like you are, you got the swag. In the end, you lose big time. Why is it so difficult for people to rationally think of their own self-interest plus the common good, which can be worked well? I think that we must be able to saturate the environment. The work that Pastor Oaks and his team with their PRO have been doing in exercising consciousness, I think is good. We should continue to support them. But I think ultimately we have to bring the people to a level of general consciousness that they are willing to say this is our future that's been robbed by the failure of the electoral process. I agree also that we should internationalize the problem to the point that we may actually achieve the isolation of our country. Sadly, we did it, all of us, including Bola Tinubu, did it during Abacha's time. That international pariah status will lead to some shame in some of the political class. I know that many of them have lost a sense of shame, and that we may pull back from the brink. Look, the very basis of politics, the reason for politics, is the forging of some consensus. And that's what leadership is about. How do we forge consensus amongst leaders to say that we can justly agree on how things are apportioned, the so-called authoritative allocation of values, how these are apportioned. And it's by consensus of thinking. But if they don't recognize that they should do that, they should be able to be clear about the consequences ultimately, because human beings may be beaten for a season, but ultimately human beings rebel against oppression. I had the privilege of studying very closely the work of a chap back in my days at the University of Maryland who wrote the book, Why Men Rebel. And there's a tendency for politicians to assume that men are stupid, but ultimately certain things then push men to rebellion. And the politicians, become grave victims of what happens. I think they should, in their own self-interest, recognize that it helps them, it helps all of society to have a transparent, free, and fair electoral system. I know that emotion tends to overwhelm rationality in today's world, but ultimately the cycle comes back. And so we must, in everything we do, saturate the environment. We must challenge professional bodies that betray all of us in this matter. Lawyers, I have the privilege of addressing the African Bar Association, the keynote in 2 weeks, I think, in Ghana. And I'm going to tell lawyers that they are the shame of Africa because they have not been able to do what lawyers should do. African institutions are a big mess. When the Chief Justice of Pakistan was insulted by the political leaders, lawyers went on the streets. But Nigerian lawyers are forging and fopping and fasting as judiciary becomes really a continuous flow of nattering nabobs of not just negativism, but infantilism and narcissism. Nattering nabobs of infantilism and narcissism. We must not betray the essence of our professionalism because of little crumbs. I mean, judges behaving like motopark touts, like they didn't go to school. Not to talk of good law school. That's not a country that can go anywhere. And we must make everybody feel that shame. Until the needful. I think I'll yield here.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you. We're very grateful for the analysis and background you've given us. Can we now unmute Dr. Obi Ezekwili?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, we can.
Madam
Doctor,
Ambassador,
good afternoon. We can hear you.
Madam Ambassador, good to join you.
Thank
so
you.
I know that a lot has been already canvassed on the matter of INEC reforms. And I'd just like to add a little pieces. If I do repeat things that others have said, forgive me. It's because I had to run out of another previously agreed meeting. So I will run quickly along the lines of financial and operational autonomy. We can't do half measures. So anything that we're insisting on must be financial and operational autonomy, direct funding from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Number two, we need to have enhanced prosecutorial powers for INEC, relying on the police and the Attorney General for prosecution of electoral offenses basically rewards bad behavior. And that's what we've continued to see. We do need to have a prosecutorial unit or guaranteed access to dedicated prosecutors that would ensure timely action on electoral violations. Then the second bucket of things for me would be around technology. We did make a slight progress, but it ended in calamity because it didn't go all the way. So we had a halfway house. So number one, under technology and procedural improvements for me would be mandatory electronic transmission of results. I insist that we should demand for a codification of the use of technology for results transmission. So it's not subject to any funny interpretation by a compromised judiciary. It would reduce the opportunity for manipulation during coalition process for us to have a codified use of technology for in the new act. Then expanded time frames for electoral activities under procedural issues. INEC always struggles with these compressed timelines. So extending the periods for voter registration, candidate nomination, and election preparation would definitely improve our quality of our elections. Number two, under procedural issues would be, for me, strengthening result collation procedures. We need clearer guidelines and oversight mechanisms for collation at ward, local government, and state level, so that it would reduce the disputes and manipulation opportunities. And then my third bucket of things are under structural and governance reforms. Structural and governance reforms. We do need, number one, transparent appointment processes for INEC leadership. We cannot have a situation where basically politicians are throwing in our face that our electoral umpire is a part of their political gathering. It's terrible. Reform for appointing INEC commissioners, ensuring that civil society is at the center of it to reduce this partisan influence that has turned INEC to an extension of the party in power. And then the professionalization of the staff, the career structure within INEC is a problem. And we know that it is also what perversely incentivizes their readiness to trade. They trade. Number three is that the kind of stakeholder engagement that INEC would have with society has to be different. It's almost like you have a captive audience now of people in civil society that INEC works with. And at a certain level, they have gone native, as we normally say in the world of development, meaning that they have immersed themselves along with INEC in their shenanigans. And then number four would be my number four bucket, legal and enforcement mechanisms. Legal and enforcement mechanisms. And I think I heard both my brother Pat and Izzy talking about this. We need to expedite electoral dispute resolutions. So pre-election disputes that are not resolved before elections occur should not be the case. So creating fast-track mechanisms for electoral cases would prevent this kind of disenfranchisement that happens. And then stronger penalty for electoral offenses. When I don't even know where we've seen any penalty, except of course this lame one that they did concerning some commissioner or so, or election returning officer, something like that. There has to be a mechanism that deters these electoral offenses. Otherwise, it will be like we have agreed that it's okay to go and do all of those things and enjoy your money. And then clearer authority over security agencies. INEC should have explicit legal authority to direct security agencies during elections. In other words, during elections, we will not subordinate INEC anymore to the behaviors or the decisions or the choices of these security agencies. To the extent that they are put to do anything in elections, they now become answerable to the leadership of INEC. And then I had the set of points around the judiciary and the problem that they have become, where we now have courtroom democracy. Courtroom democracy, that's a terrible phenomenon. So elections were being decided in court rather than at the polling station. I mean, you have basically destroyed the spirit of democracy. Democracy is about the power of citizens to make their choices, not the power of a few judges on the bench to determine who will be our president or who will be the governor. So number one for me under this point is that the kind of inconsistent and contradictory rulings that we see with INEC on everything judicial that goes to them. Lower courts contradict higher courts, Supreme Court decisions, internal consistencies around them. It erodes public confidence in both elections and judiciary. So we need to look at those, and that's where data helps. We need to get some of the lawyers amongst us to find out all of those instances where this has happened. We can't just do this on the basis of anecdotes. We have to have real cases that show this level of inconsistent and contradictory rulings in order to put the mirror before the judiciary to see what it has been doing to our democracy. I'm soon coming to an end. Just give me 2 minutes. Technicalities over substance. I mean, like, what is this? What is this? They nullify elections based on procedural technicalities, party nomination processes, form filling errors, and things like that. Just, it has to be that we're holding the judiciary to a higher standard of what adjudication means. And then these prolonged litigation timelines, electoral cases dragging for months, for years, and by the time the final judgment is rendered, the disputed office holder would have served the term or most of it. That's an unstable system. We do need to hammer on this. We can't have prolonged litigation timelines. And then all of the cases of compromise and corruption that we've seen in the judiciary, nothing. We've not seen any form of these high-profile cases involving allegations of bribery really going anywhere. And there is a Nigerian Judicial Council, or whatever it is, or is it National Judicial Council? How? Electoral judgment related misconduct, and the person is still sitting pretty, waiting for the next election. It's like election is an industry for our judiciary now. That's terrible. We have to really take the war to the gate of the judiciary. And then pre-election injunctions and the chaos that we see. It's just unbelievable. It's like a forum shop for these people, and that has to stop. So I end on the note that we have to ask for these strict timelines with teeth. The Electoral Act that mandates, but where's the teeth? Courts should face consequences for delays, and cases exceeding timelines should be automatically escalated or dismissed. Then we do need to think of specialized electoral courts, because we know what our judiciary is like. It grinds like a wheel that is gone. So specialized electoral courts important. Then restricting pre-election litigation, requiring evidence of substantial non-compliance as against all these technicalities, limiting the grounds for nullification, transparent judicial assessment. In fact, I like that because this idea of a certain segment of the judiciary being the ones that are always sitting around the election issues is making judges specialize in this business that they do with the political class. So we do need to demand for electoral cases for judges on electoral cases to be to be this kind of a random approach. So implement automated systems for assigning electoral cases to judges, so that it is not that you're definitely going to know. An automated system for assigning electoral cases to judges would be helpful to reduce manipulation, strengthening this judicial accountability by insisting on the NJC doing what it should do, investigate judges, do take the swift disciplinary action, and then a couple of the other things that I have said, and definitely making sure that we have the citizens behind this call. Honestly, a few of us talking about this won't go anywhere. These people just simply, they want the captors of our democracy, don't care about a few people saying anything. They care about the Nigerian people finally taking ownership on a matter. So if there's anything that we can do to make sure that all Nigerians are saying electoral reform, that is an important final piece that I want to talk about. And that requires sustained investment of time and effort and reasoning and knowledge. And we have enough people, brilliant people on this call, that would ensure that we design a thing that would make the Nigerian people say, it is on this hill that we're prepared to all, what do you call it, that die, literally. Because for as long as our electoral system is a mess, the kind of debt we just lost a young woman, 29-year-old promising young woman. No. How many more years are we going to wait for our children to be dying? So we need to make sure that we get this, but we can't get it in an isolated, very limited number of people, elite, having a conversation. We're going to have to get the Nigerian people to understand that this matters for their lives. I thank you very much. Sorry that I took
Thank you so much, Dr. Ezekwesili. I just wanted to say that, first of all, we'd like to have a copy of the paper, please, so that we can go through some of the points raised. But just to also bring you in on points that were made earlier by His Excellency Rotimi Amaechi, we have a debt of time in terms of working with a political class that doesn't hear, doesn't listen, and doesn't even mind what we're talking about. You've raised quite a lot of issues, and my question will be, shouldn't we be asking INEC to account for the monies that they have been given? I mean, basically, my argument is, why should we be the one telling INEC how to operationalize and do all the things you have said, when in fact, as an institution, it should be the ones to account to us for credible elections? How can we turn around the responsibility of credible elections to INEC and make INEC accountable for that which they have been given by their mandate to do? Because INEC then goes to town, gives us an election that amounts to nothing, and walks away, throws us at the court, throws us at the police, the army, and all kinds of people. And we're just running all over the place, trying to do the things which, of course, we are not even in a position to do. But we're so grateful.
Madam Ambassador, on that your point, it's almost like a prisoner's dilemma situation, right? Because it's in the local parlance we would say chicken and egg situation. Which INEC are you talking about, that you're going to trust this responsibility that you talked about? If they were that, we would not be calling this meeting, right? So let's sort of like almost do a sequencing in terms of how things go before you can even expect certain standard of work from the current INEC. Assume that the current INEC you have is immersed in the mess, in the massive mess. So saying they should do is a desideratum, not something that is reasonable to expect anymore, unfortunately. So we do need to think of this as though we were on a tabula rasa and designing the things that would get us out of our current condition. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Ezekwesili.
His Excellency Peter will be joining us.
Tanko was here now. Tanko was here, but he left. Let me give him a call and see if they're ready.
Okay, let me also join in commending the intervention of Dr. Ezekwesili, setting the agenda correctly. You must, for you to even go to action and take the street, you must go with knowledge. You must go with consensus and momentum. And that is what we are trying, what we have achieved, what this meeting is set to achieve. The objective of this call, we have identified the issue, apart from the fact that somebody on the call said, wrote that there is need for diaspora voting, early and diaspora voting, which might be considered as one of the issues to be itemized and pursued at our level. So I must commend it. This is really keynote speech, keynote for us to drive the momentum and the movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wale.
So the way we had thought about this was to use the first meeting to aggregate the ideas, and then we go to a physical meeting where we begin to use the ideas to begin to build some sort of agreement and consensus, and the consensus becomes the basis for driving a broader civil society engagement. That has been, this is the strategy that we are trying to use here. So this was like a mopping of ideas, because there's so many actors all over the place, and we need to have some aggregation.
You need a big tent.
Yes. Okay. Yunusa is here now. Franco, are we expecting his? Okay, he's joining. He's joining.
Okay. Can it be?
Yeah. Excellency Peter, please contact. Yeah.
Has it joined?
He's trying to join. It says joining. He hasn't quite joined yet. Yes, just to carry.
As indicated, Femi Falana will be joining soon. I can say Hector Roosevelt. That's the thing about virtual meeting. Really, you can't blame people. When people don't come, you can't, because it's not a physical one. Maybe on the 21st in Abuja, we'll be able to have people together before we commence.
Hector Roosevelt, are we expecting Mr. Falana?
Yes, we're expecting Falana. I don't know if Hector wants to chip in from diaspora. Hector Roosevelt, can he be unmuted before His Excellency Peter Obi comes in? Hector, you are muted.
Okay. All right. Yes, thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this Zoom meeting. I even at the last election, I was just at the end of it all. I was telling myself the best thing to do is to find a way to change the election, to change how it's done, in Nigeria, and that whatever we do or how hard it will work, it will not amount to anything at the end. So in this situation where we find ourselves now, I'm hoping that when this movement is all through, we'll have achieved one thing, and that is to change elections for good. My old man, who is late, told me one time that the problem with Nigerian elections is that when the civilians do it, they don't work. It doesn't work. But when outsiders handle the election in Nigeria, it works. He told me about the 1959 election run by the British. Okay, for the most part. The one of 78, run by the military, it was also very good for the most part. But each time, when they do the outsiders do run the election, it goes very well, like 1959. But then in 1964, 65, it goes terrible. Same thing. They do in 78, the military, it went well. Then, for the most part, 1978, and then under Obasanjo. And then what happens next? In the 1983 election, everything scatters. So this is a long-running problem, and it is worse now. My own suggestion, I have to add, of course, people who have spoken before have made very good points, is that looking at Trump, there are many things I don't agree with he does, but then there's something he has. He doesn't like Nigerians being in the United States. He doesn't like it because they change the narrative of Africans, black people, unproductive and liars, thieves, lazy. Nigerians here change that narrative. We are among the most educated in the whole country, ethnic group in the whole country, in national group in the whole country, Nigerians. So he want Nigerians to go. If we not get him, he can put major force on the Nigerian government to change things. I think we should work with him to change things in Nigeria, Nigerian elections.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hector Roosevelt. We hear that His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi is on standby to take his intervention at this point. May I respectfully bring to the microphone Mr. Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections. Over to you, sir, Mr. Peter Obi. Admin, are you there?
Yes, he's been asked to unmute.
Please do everything to unmute him. The time is fast, man. We are using to get him unmuted. And we're expecting Mr. Femi Falana to join us soon.
We also have Mr. Fafa Princewell here.
Yeah.
Tanko, if his device is unable to unmute, can he speak through your device, please?
But Tanko says joining, which means he has not joined yet.
Can we take Fafa than Princewell? Prince
Yeah,
Fafa.
but hold on. P2B is about to. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, I think he's unmuted now. Go ahead, sir. You've been unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Well, mine is just express my sincere gratitude to the organizers of this event, and I've listened to a few of the conversations. And all I can say is most of the conversation have been canvassed. I support, and additionally, to say that this is a very critical thing that has to happen before our next election. Because the way it is today, without having a proper system, electoral system that can guarantee free and fair election, especially with ensuring that the vote cast at the end of the day reflects the true position and expression of the people's mandate to make it truly something that anybody can be proud of. From the voting at the booth, which the law clearly stated that the collation will be done at the booth level and transmitted immediately, and ensure that that process is secured and functional. A lot of people are talking about it. Additionally, now we must not include that it is only during the election that anybody can change his party. After election, once you're elected, you will stay with that party until the next election. And if for any reason you change your party, like it's just down the road in Ghana, within 21 days, they'll conduct a new election. Or like it's in South Africa, that the party replaces you with another person of their choice. There must be so many total change of our electoral process from conduct to even what happens after the election to be able to make our democracy worthwhile. For me, it is about gratitude to you for discussion, and urge you to continue. Whatever I have to say, most people have said it, so there's no need repeating it, except to say I endorse most of what have been said by previous speakers. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you so much, His Excellency. We're so grateful for that contribution. We've had quite a number of distinguished guests who have spoken, and this contribution, particularly the one on changing of political parties, was not one of the points raised earlier. So we are very happy to have your contribution on that and other things. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Femi Falana here with us?
Not yet, unless he's joined with a different name.
Mr. Chair, can you join us so that we can round up, please? Oh, Mr. Timothy, you had the last point to make, and then that would be the last closing remark, except Mr. Falana joins us. Timothy, your last comment, and please be brief because we have overshot our time.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I want
Yes.
to first of all thank you for the opportunity to speak on this platform. All right. There are two major things I want to say in regards to all we've been saying. The first of it is we are talking about getting a change in the electoral system. But I want us to also know that one of the major things is stepping it down to the common man, or let me say this, fellow citizens. Because like one of the speakers was mentioning that in the polling unit, voters are still votes. And one of the things that can bring change in the life of persons is giving them leadership training and ability to know their stand. Because many persons are just how do I put it now? Majorly driven by what they can just get to eat for the moment, because they've not understood that what we are doing is not just a one-man affair, but a generational transformation. So the question I want to ask is, what is the plan on ground to make sure that every citizen is brought at least to 70% knowledge of personal leadership and knowing that they are the first target and not just selling their vote, because it looks very casual. But that is one of the things that have been keeping us Nigerians at the point where we are. So the question is, what are we doing? What is the lowest level of care that we are brought down to make sure that people are sensitized, not just because there's election, but because they need to be developed. If not, the cycle will continue. Then secondly, we also mentioned the issue of going to the streets. Now I could remember the entrance protest and how we turned up. Another question I want us to begin to target, let it not just be that we have been talking and yet nothing is done, is what is the plan of that to make sure that the desires, these people that are bringing out themselves, they are not just mercenaries like we've been seeing. They are not just seen as though what they are doing is nothing. Because these persons, they are bringing out their life, they're bringing out our life to on the line. But what should be done? What are we doing? Are we just talking about what we do, and yet there is no plan on ground to see that? I know that we cannot guarantee 100% security, but what is it on ground? So we'll not just speak and what is happening is still happening. So these are just few questions and points I want us to look into, and if possible, bring it down to the lowest scale and see transformation is achieved. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Timothy. Che, I don't know whether Mr. Falana is here, but the other aspects of our program was the proposals. I think we need some time to be able to pull together those proposals. We will need time to look at the various comments that have been made and come up with something concrete in terms of addressing our communique and the issues that have been generated from this conversation. I don't know whether we can do that straight away, but I would think that we would need to get the copy of Dr. Ezekwesili's presentation and the notes that have been taken, as well as the recording, in order to be able to get to our critical issues and strategy for engagement. But in terms of the strategy, the last point, Timothy, you made, is that it's a process. We are hoping that the build-up that will come from this, now that we have identified some critical issues around what needs to happen, is to begin to yes, thank you, Segus. I get that. I get the point of the party changing. Yes, we'll put all of that in. We'll put all of that in. Yeah. So the next step is that we intend to have a physical meeting sometime this month. We are proposing the 21st of October. That will give us some time to be able to pull together all the ideas we've had today, because this was an agenda setting meeting. Now we know what some of the issues are, and the fact that we need more than multiple tracks of engagement, not just one track of engagement, reforms being one, international community being another, how we get the international community to exert pressure on the government of Nigeria People have talked about the possibility of working something out with Donald Trump. That's an interesting perspective to look at. And all the things around the judiciary, the work and the talk about the what Professor Utomi said about the legal profession itself, just hugging themselves around and coming up with all these judgments that are anti-people. And the whole thing around education, awareness, and building of people's momentum. How do we bring in the political class without also being taken over by the political class? Because you can see that when it comes to the actual defending of the votes at the level of the polling unit, it's the competition between the political class that usually enables that kind of engagement. How do we bring them into this process without necessarily handing over the process to them and having them exploit the process? How do we deal with the fact that we know that this is a government that will not listen to us and it's not likely to do what we want them to do? How do we overcome that sort of standpoint of the government, whether it be from the National Assembly or from the executive? Where is the buy-in for many of us who want to see a different kind? What about the role of technology? These are some of the things that we talked about. The use of technology, Dr. Ezekwesili talked about the codification of the transmission processes so that you don't end up having a transmission process that is already compromised, even at the point when they are still being gathered and nothing has been handed over to the people. So we have just 1 year to the elections. I would call it 1 year to the elections. And I think this is a tall order for us. We must hopefully by the next meeting set a sort of agenda for the next 1 year, begin to see where the actors are coming from and who else we need to bring into this process. But I want to thank my
Madam,
co-facilitator, Wale, for.
mm,
I'm not
can I
closing. I'm just
just
handing over to you, Che, for the excellent work that we've done and to apologize for all the technical issues that we have had today. Over to you, Wale. I will pass on the baton to you now.
what quickly is that we also have to highlight the interest and concern of people in diaspora who also want in the ongoing constitutional amendment diaspora voting. And I think that the House of Reps have done enormous work in that direction. It's just for us to push. I know that the Speaker of the House actually co-sponsored the bill in that direction. So it would be nice for us to have early and diaspora voting. Early in the sense that people who do essential duties are disenfranchised on the day of election. And so they could, there's no way they will vote. Therefore, they will have to do some early voting. I mean, so that their own votes too can count. They can be part of deciding the leadership of the country or government of the country. And the special seat for women and the vulnerables, something that so proportional representation at the parliament, special seat is also very, very crucial for women. And there have been mobilization around that issue. So we must also list that in considering the proposal before us. It's very important. Electronic transmission of result, I mean, we cannot afford, but it has to be mandatory. All we need to do is to make it mandatory at this point. And well, you have said it all. This is just the beginning. This is just to build consensus and to give a sense that something is about to start. It has not started. It will start on the 21st in Abuja, where the people will be on ground from all over the country to talk and to passionately make their proposals. And then we can then move their rallies to rallies, state engagement, National Assembly engagement. The National Assembly is going to be voting very soon, very shortly. I mean, when they resume on the bills.
On the 14th.
Is it actually 14 now?
Yes, it is 14th. Except they change it, it's 14th.
The sense we have is that the information we have is that they will resume on the 7th and then things will take shape from there. But if it is 14, then it means that engagement must be worked out towards 14, while we also have that summit on the 21st. So I don't know if Barrister Femi Falana is here. So if there is no, hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
We can suggestion, and then wrap up so that we don't also we can also allow in more contribution because people want to speak. So we can just take their proposals, one proposal, two, and so on. So that people don't feel marginalized. If we have proposals that have not been captured by the previous presentation.
I think we have to look at the chat thread and pick up things from the chat. We don't have any hands that are up, so we can round up at this point.
Okay, so over to you to make the announcement about what will happen on the 21st, and how we are proceeding to that.
Well, thank you very much. Chair, you can see that this is somewhat more like a rolling coaster. If the National Assembly comes in, Shola, do you want to say something? There's a Shola hand up. Please, the last comment so that we can close. Shola, do you want to say something?
Just propose a suggestion on what to be done. Concrete proposal, suggestion.
Please, that would be the last comment. We have no other hands. Shola, please.
Proposal. We just want proposal. Suggestion. Wes, can we unmute Shola? Yusuf Emo or Shola?
Please, Ahmed, can we unmute you? Can we unmute Ahmed or Shola?
Just 1 minute each. 1 minute. Not more than 1 minute proposal. Just suggestion.
They have not been unmuted.
So that people don't feel marginalized.
They have not been unmuted.
Mr.
Mine
Dean.
is. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Who is speaking?
I wanted to know if we can put proposals to the Secretariat, and who do we address our proposals?
You can send it to Mr. Wale. You can send it to Che, Veteran Che. Please send your proposals. There's a local organizing committee. Send your proposals to Mr. Che. He is the co-facilitator and the convener of this process. Send that. Thank you. Is Mr. Shola able to speak? Or Shola able to speak? Can we hear Julia? Julia? And Yusuf. Any of those who can unmute? Julia, Yusuf, Shola, if you can unmute. Thank you. Julia?
Can you unmute them? We should not have this difficulty.
Ahmed, we have heard you. You said you wanted to know where to send it. Please send it to Mr. Che, Veteran Che, whose photo is now showing. Okay, I think we're having technical problems. We can't go on endlessly if people cannot unmute. We have to, please, we can suggest that you send your suggestions to us in writing. We are open to receive suggestions. The Secretariat will be open to send.
On this chat box, they can do that right away so that we pick it.
Please send it on the chat box, so that we can have your suggestions immediately and put them up to use. Thank you, Kelechi. Sorry, we cannot unmute you. Sorry, Shola, we have not been able to unmute you and the others who have been affected. Thank you very, very much. Please write down your suggestions and we will continue from there. We have a couple of things that we have to address. One is, if the National Assembly is going ahead with the constitutional reform process, we have to think about how we want to engage. We know that some of our partners are already engaging with the National Assembly, but we need to take some of the suggestions that have come out of this process and send it to them so that they are able to also do an additional advocacy on the issue. We need also to do a comparative analysis of what is before the National Assembly and what this meeting has been able to gather. So there'll be a comparison to see whether there are any gaps between what we have before the National Assembly and what this meeting has been able to put forward as a proposal. So I believe by the end of tomorrow or so, we will be able to get the reports and highlights of this meeting. We should be able to share the reports and highlights of this meeting with as many of our partners as possible and see how we can use what we have gathered to take to the National Assembly, even if it is for some of us to go into that engagement with the National. I think Pastor Oaks and his team will be able to do something with the National Assembly using some of the outcomes of today's meeting. The other thing is that we need to also begin to talk to people about the 21st. We need a large congregation of people on the 21st. It has to be not just an Abuja meeting, it has to be of national character. The question is, we also have to worry about how we are going to fund that process. Right now, our funding stream is very, very low. We raised an appeal and asking people to support this process, but we have had very little support so far. So if we're going to meet on the 21st, which we have paid for the venue already, I believe that we need to have a lot more contributions coming in. And we appeal to all those on the platform to please help us put the message out there. As you can see, we have a very tall order in terms of what we need to do going forward. So my appeal to everybody is to please try as much as possible to get the message out there so that people can begin to come in. The last thing we would like to say is that we don't need to wait for a big meeting. We can start actions at local government, state level, and then once we start our action, we can now bring those actions to the attention of the movement so that we say that, oh, in Yobe, we have so groups, and those groups are part of the movement. In different parts of the countries, we have all the different groups, and they are part of the movement. So what this does for us is that it gives us the space to decentralize while at the same time trying to centralize the conversations that we have. This is a major piece of work. We must be willing to take this forward because I believe the political class is already looking at us as the possible platform to drive this process. And if we take it seriously enough, we should be able to get the country talking based on what we have just done today. Thank you so much. Che, I will close here. If you don't have anything else to say, I would gladly call us to close the meeting at this point.
So just to do a vote of thanks to the members of Fourth Estate of the REM, the media who are here with us and to cover this event, meet to the Nigerian populace. We'd like to thank the News Central television. They have been here with us. Another television house that have been here with us, Tribune, Punch, etc., who have come to cover this event. We know that they will do a very fair and good reportage. We cannot do this outside the media. The media is the strength of the civil society. The greatest strength of this is the media. It will reach everywhere. And so we expect to see them again in the whole processes. So I'd like to thank you and say God bless.
Thank you, everybody. And on this note, the meeting comes to an end. Very grateful to all of us. Yeah, please, let's have the report soonest. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Goodbye.
you all. We appreciate you for your patience and commitment. We thank you.
Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
people in the Africa, we thank you for joining. We look forward to more support from you. Thank you. Thank you all. We thank all the participants, our speakers and panelists who have attended this. This is just the beginning of a new movement. that will drive the 2027 agenda. You can be ready.